And here we are. So, um, what a wild ride it's been. And yoga helps us smooth it out. Today, the emphasis of what I want to offer today is really about trusting yourself and being able to connect within. You know, there's no owner's manual that we come into this world with. And I remember that when I became a new mom, one of the challenges for me in that journey was, you know, how do I do this? It's all new. And I had gotten a stack of all of these parenting books and mothering books, and they were sitting on my bedside table. And, you know, anytime that we were facing a new challenge, my urge was to go pick up the manual and figure it out. And then what I realized is that all of these books had these mixed messages, right? Like there's the one that tells you to let them cry it out, and the one that says carry them all the time, and attachment parenting. And at some point it just became so frustrating and so mind-boggling to try and find somebody else's answer for me. And when I let go of that process and dropped in and said, you know what, how is my body guiding this? And in what ways does my intuition really know what she needs based on how I'm feeling and what I'm needing based on our interaction and our relational dance and what our family needs, right? So we have the kind of an internal guidance system, an internal compass. And I really believe that that is so much of what our practice invites us to tune into and to tap into, is that when we can drop in and awaken our sensory system, that so much of the information that we need comes from here, right? That there's a way in which we can't always think our way through the answer, whether it's a practice on the mat or a process out in the world. But what we can do is learn to trust ourselves. So this practice today is an invitation to be in the moment, to let go of any pull to focus on anything before this moment or anything that's to come next. So if there's any internal distractions that are inhibiting your ability to be here in this practice today, I invite you to contain it for a little bit, just to imagine that there's some place that you can put the worries, the angst, the urge to check the phone, right? The urge to look at data and to come inward. And it's just for 90 minutes. So we can suspend those pulls and notice what happens on the other side. So this practice is about awakening to the very essence of who you are and learning that capacity to trust yourself. I'm going to share two different readings. One is something that I wrote last night as I was looking at the sunset. And for some of you, you may know that I take evening walks pretty much every day. And I take photographs of the sunset. And most of those days, I stand in one particular place. So there is this kind of same backdrop of our flat irons, our mountains, reflected in the lake. And yet each day, there's a whole different assortment of nuanced changes, the way the clouds are, the way the wind blows, the way that the water is still or it's moving, the ducks, the geese, what's present in those nuanced changes. So here are the words. Every day brings a different sky. Embracing change with equanimity involves a capacity to be in the moment. Sure, we're human and we're all born with a capacity to use the past to try and predict the future. But sometimes we're wrong. In these moments, we're asked to update our predictions to accommodate a new reality. This allows us to more accurately perceive our current circumstances, ultimately helping us be here now. The skyline might be familiar, but the unique and nuanced changes in color are always different. Without anticipation or comparison, I invite you to appreciate this gift of presence. And I'll follow that with a brief quote here by Rumi. Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all of the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And with that, our practice today is to tune in to sense where maybe there might be some tightness, some constriction, and to use the breath and movement and tools of awareness to unwind and unfold. We'll start with the breath practice of Ujjayi Pranayama. The Ujjayi Pranayama is that slight constriction in the back of the throat. It creates an audible quality to the breath. We take this softly and kindly to the self. It's waking up through the inner ear. If you're new to the breath practice, it's as if you're fogging up a mirror. But the inhale and exhale come through the nose. This breath, sometimes referred to as victorious breath. The victory is over the mind. And it has the quality of the oceanic wave sound. A reminder that all things, all thoughts and emotions are meant to come and go. And then a gentle add on to the breath, just a simple movement with the arms. Inhale, sweeping the arms up, maybe taking your gaze to your thumbs. And exhale. Moving with your breath, your rhythm. Again. Lengthening the spine, grounding through the sits bones. Each exhale as you lower the arms, grow a little taller. Each inhale, let yourself really settle into the earth as you lift. This dance of opposites. And then a very simple rotation. We lift, inhale. Exhale, twisting to the right, right fingertips behind, left fingertips to your right knee, moving with the breath. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. So we're just warming up into the practice. Nothing is forced here, moving side to side with the breath. Inhaling center. Exhaling left. Finding your own rhythm. If it's different than what I'm guiding, honoring your pace. Inhaling center. And exhale, releasing the hands here. I'm going to slide back at this point, just allowing yourself in this brief pause to tune into what has brought you to your mat. What are you hoping to get out of this practice? What is your why for today? And then from here, I'll invite a drawing forward of the heart on the inhale, and an exhale, releasing your spine straight back. I can show this from the side. It's just a seated cat-cow. We're arching and we're curling in. Flexion and extension. Again, finding your breath, your rhythm. Powerful place to notice any holding of tension. Maybe hands to shoulders, opening up across the chest, lifting the chin. Exhale, curling it inward. For a few breaths here, maybe a letting the exhale out with a sound. Letting go of any holding, any tension in the jaw, the chest, the throat. If you've noticed this week, maybe you've been holding your breath, really letting it go. And then inhale, open the palms, reaching arms wide. And exhale, pressing palms firmly together in front of you. Inhale, opening, embracing, and exhale, finding midline. One more like that. Releasing hands here. And then we'll find just a few rotations in each direction. Inhale forward, exhale back. As you listen inward, tuning in to any pockets of holding, sending your breath there, your awareness, maybe micro movements of the spine, and seeing if you can release those barriers to love. Going in the opposite direction. Lovely. And then from here, we'll come into the side body a little bit. I'm warming up a little bit here. So taking right arm out toward the side, leaning into the right hand. You can keep the left hand on your left hip, or maybe you take the left arm up overhead. And you can stay in a static hold, breathing into the left intercostals, left side body, or maybe you move a little bit with the breath, grounding into the left sits bones and a little undulation of the side body. You can kind of imagine you're more of a sea creature than a human form here. Breathing into the gills. And then we'll press back up to center. We're going to stay with the left side by taking right ear toward the right shoulder. This time walking left fingertips away. And then perhaps taking right arm up and around. Right hand can cup the left ear. We're not tugging on the head. It's simply an awareness point here to open up through that left side of the neck. You can imagine that you're puffing up a little balloon in that left side neck with the breath, inhaling into sensation. Notice how that might refer or send sensations into the left side of your head or left shoulder. And then coming back through to center, we'll come into leaning on the left hand. You can take it out to the side a little bit. Right hand on the right hip, moving with the breath, undulating the spine. And then perhaps taking that right arm up overhead. Breathing into the side body between the ribs. And then pressing back to center, this time left ear toward left shoulder, walking right fingertips in the opposite direction, maybe left hand up and over, and sending your breath and awareness into the right side of your neck. Slowly releasing back through to center. And from here, we'll do a little bit of a deeper twist. So this time, taking your left heel closer to your right hip and right foot to the outside of your left leg. So again, it's still early in our practice, and I want to invite you to really just tune into what's right for you right now. So inhale, sweeping arms up overhead. And exhale, right hand behind your spine. Right arm is like a second spine. And either you're taking hold with your hand to the outside of the right leg, or maybe your elbow comes around, but there's nothing forced. So we're focusing on inhaling, finding length, exhale, finding the depth of twist that's right for you this morning or afternoon for my UK folks. And inhale, finding that spinal support. Exhale, rinsing in the organs. Beautiful. Inhale through to center, releasing both legs for a moment and just shaking out the legs. You can bounce the knees, you can rock feet back and forth. And we'll switch sides, taking right heel toward left hip, left foot to the outside, grounding into both sits bones, both hips pressing equally downward. And then inhale, sweeping arms. Exhale, left fingertips behind, length of your spine. And then maybe right hand to the outside of your left leg or elbow, depending on what's supportive for your body here. Finding length on the inhale, exhale into depth. And slowly unwind, inhale, and exhale, releasing hands, legs out in front of you. This time, I'll invite you to roll all the way down onto your back. Once you arrive on your back, taking a moment to plant the soles of the feet on the floor to feel your spine supported on the earth, reorienting in relationship to gravity, letting the belly be soft. And then we'll awaken into the core. So we're going to engage through those abdominal muscles, strengthening here, beginning by placing hands behind your head, keeping feet planted here. Inhale and exhale to lift head and shoulders. Inhale to lower, and just noticing how your body responds to this shift into a strengthening and an engagement mode. We're not here for very long, so really allowing yourself to make each one worth it. One more like that. Lowering down, taking the soles of the feet off of the floor and allowing the inner thighs to press toward each other. Inhale and exhale through the upper body. Inhale to lower and lift. Simple movements, perhaps noticing if your knees want to creep towards your chest and drawing them back over your hips. A little bit more of our willful practice here. One more like that. And then lowering down, taking right thigh over left. This time, we're going to find eagle legs. Now, I like this just with a single wrap. A traditional version might be to take that foot behind the left calf. Not necessary. Just a wrapping of the inner thighs, a pressing of inner thighs toward each other. This time, upper and lower body are going to move together. On the exhale, drawing knees, elbows toward each other. On the inhale, sending your feet forward as you lower the head. Now, your range of motion is unique to you. You might come just a few inches forward. You might press the feet a little further. Listening to what allows you to stay tethered and connected to your core. Lowering down for a moment here. Uncross the knees, hugging your knees into your chest, a little rock side to side. And then switching it out. Left thigh over right, hands behind the head, inhale, and exhale, hugging to midline. Inhale to open, maybe press the feet forward. Good, just 3 more here. Maybe the exhale is through the mouth, just letting some heat go. And then lowering it down. Once again, uncrossing the legs, this time hands behind the knees and a little rock on the spine. We're not completely out of our core series. From here, when we rock up, I'll invite you to come into Navasana. Now, we'll start with a version of Navasana with the toes on the ground, a long spine, maybe hands behind the thighs. From here, you can rock a little bit back behind the sits bones, and maybe the toes come off of the earth. Maybe you take the feet parallel, finding a long spine. Maybe you release the arms in front of you. Maybe you lengthen the legs. Now, that one can really throw you off balance. It's powerful to explore that edge of challenge that allows us to stay connected, heart open, connected to breath. Inhale here and exhale, releasing the legs. Let's roll over the shins this time and we'll meet in a tabletop. Once you arrive, hands, knees on the floor, shins on the floor, finding some free form movement. Let yourself make this yours. However, your body needs to integrate what we've done so far in the practice. The core strengthening, the spinal awakening. And I often like to say that it's so lovely to imagine that you are your favorite animal just waking up from a nap, tapping into that intuitive, instinctual self that knows what it loves, knows how to move, knows what you need. And you're welcome to stay with that intuitive flow, or I'll guide a few movements here. The first is a little bit like a porpoise here, just diving your nose down. Inhale, exhale, sending your hips toward your heels, and then nose low as you come across the earth, lifting into cow. Exhale into cat as you descend your hips. Your elbows might come down as you come forward, a little bit of a sphinx action as you pull the heart through up to cow. Exhale, sending hips back through cat. One more like that. And then if you'd like, switching directions, coming up through cat and descending through cow as you lower the heart, sending hips back. Inhale, coming up through cat, arching the spine. And exhale, bending the elbows, lower the heart, send the hips back. One more in this direction. And then coming back through to center. From here, one of my favorite flows here, taking right leg out toward the right. Inhale, we're going to free the right arm. And we're going to move with the breath. Exhale, sweeping right arm under left. Inhale, open and unfurl. Exhale, curl it inward. Moving with your breath. One more on this side. And exhale. Hands plant, hands come back toward left knee, lifting up here, sweeping arms overhead if you like. And exhale, we're going to come toward the right side first. Just breathing into that left side body once again, grounding into that left shin, feeling a little opener in the left hip flexor as you lift your heart up and away. And then up and over, we'll take the left hand down, keeping right foot grounded and taking right arm up overhead. So a supported side plank variation. Once again, feeling that long line, outer right foot to right fingertips. A beautiful place to stay, or shifting weight, left hand, left shin, lifting right leg, inhale. And exhale, Right elbow, right knee. They greet and they extend. Moving with your breath. One more here. Sending right foot down, right hand comes around, right knee greets the left, and a little bit of a free flow, working out from side one, any of the kinks, any of those tight places. And we'll find side two. Left foot extends, lifting through the left arm. And exhale, sending the left hand under and through, like a fern opening to the sun and closing up at the end of the day. Honoring these rhythms as they serve you. Pausing as you exhale, walking hands up toward your right knee to lift. Maybe inhale the arms. And exhale, left hand toward the left leg, breathing into the right side body. We'll shift it out, up, inhale through center, lowering through the right hand, and keeping that left foot grounded first as we lift the left arm, reaching fingertips overhead, maybe a little bit of a opening through the heart here. And either staying here or if you'd like, shifting your weight, hand and knee, lifting left leg. Inhale, stretch, reach, and exhale, knee and elbow. Inhale away. And exhale it in. Again. Slowly lowering foot, hand, knee, and we meet in tabletop. We'll prepare to come into downward facing dog, curling the toes under this time. Inhale, lifting head, tail, and exhale, sending your hips back. You can keep both knees bent to start, finding length of the spine, and maybe an opportunity to find that free flow movement once again, bending one knee and the other. Now, a different relationship to gravity with the knees lifted, new mobility. How does your body make this shape yours? Now we'll be finding this shape again, but for now we'll take a walk forward with the feet toward the hands, finding ragdoll. In ragdoll shape, your knees can be nice and bent, and letting your upper body soften over the legs, head heavy, releasing through the jaw, maybe nodding head yes and no. A lovely place to let go of the voice, any holding in the throat. Again, you can sigh it out. Allowing the sound to take any lingering tension out of the body, rolling off the shoulders, the crown of the head. And then with bent knees, finding a long spine. For today, taking hands to your hips, let your elbows be lifted and let the navel come up toward the spine. So nice, long, straight spine here. Taking a few breaths, let the gaze be down, let the crown of the head be long. Sits bones reaching back, tail reaching back. And then pressing into the feet to come all the way up to standing. Once we arrive here in standing, we're going to do one of my favorite little flows here. This is kind of a funny term for Boulder, Colorado, because it's called roll the joints, but it's not what you think, okay? So we're going to sequentially roll out through the joints of the body, and just starting here with the right ankle. So taking the right ankle in one direction, so we're kind of up on the toes and just letting the heel go around, the knee will circle, you'll feel it resonate in the right hip, and then the opposite direction. It's going around, circle the other way. About 5 times each direction. We're going to shift weight into the right foot, lift the left heel and rotate it out one direction. And the other way. All righty. You might even feel that in your toes. Next one, walking feet together, we'll come into the knees. We're going to begin to rotate knees around in one direction. And the other way. So the joints are such a lovely area of the body to give attention to. We kind of lubricate them through these movements, lifting up here, stepping the feet wide. We'll get into the hips. So nice wide hip circles here in one direction. And so lovely. We're waking up through the connective tissue and our proprioceptive centers. Lovely way to really sense and feel your own body. Going in the opposite direction. Good. Coming into center. Now, you can think about your spine as kind of like a necklace of pearls here, and that between all of the vertebrae, we have all of those micro joint connections. So we're going to undulate the spine to get into the joints of the spine here. So you can just feel that undulation from tailbone to the base of the skull. You might even start to feel a little release again in the hips and the jaw, shoulders. I'll invite you to be more of a sea creature than human. Maybe an eel or a dolphin. And then lifting up here, we'll come into the shoulders. So rotating shoulders back. And forward. And keep your knees soft during this, allowing yourself now to come into the elbows. You can rotate the forearms around the elbows in one direction, and then the other way. And your wrists, rotating hands around the wrists. Maybe even the fingers move with this. Another way. And then your head. So super gentle here, especially if you have any injuries to the neck. Just allowing yourself to rotate the head in soft circles in one way. and the other way. And you might already notice that your hands want to keep rotating or your hips are still moving. So now I invite you to put it all together, allowing yourself to really feel the fluidity throughout all of the joints of your body. It's your own personal dance, and the beauty of doing this in your own living room, right? But just allowing yourself to free flow here through the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, the hips, the neck, the knees, even lifting through the heel on one side and the other side, letting it all go. Beautiful. So you can stay with that if you'd like, for as long as you'd like. I'm going to guide us into just a few more joints of the body that are harder to get through these circular movements. One of them is to come into the jaw. Now I'm squatting just to come closer. You're welcome to join me in a squat or not, but just to let your hands come to that temporal mandibular joint here, this TMJ, and great place for us to store a lot of tension, a lot of barriers to love get caught right here. So letting yourself circle the hands in one direction. You can soften through the tongue and jaw, and the other way. Good. Next one is right here on the temples, and just circling the fingertips in one direction and the other. Good. Next one, at the base of the skull, just allowing your fingertips to rotate at that little bony protrusion, and then there's the soft place in there, and just finding any of those tension spots at the base of the skull. You might circle your way from the outer rim to the center and back out. Not here for too long. Last spot, one of my personal favorites, and your hair might get a little messy, but it's worth it, is to remember that we have all of these little sutures, little joints at the skull, and just take your fingertips and just little tiny circles as you move across the skull midline, and then feeling out to the outer skull. Don't worry about finding any particular spots. Just give yourself that little scalp massage. For any of you that have been missing being on a massage table, I know that for so many that scalp massage is like the favorite part. You can do that for yourself a little bit here. So, just taking off the thinking cap and letting the tension in the scalp release out through your face. Lovely. We'll come back into our practice here. I'm going to slide back onto my mat, and we'll come into a half moon expression, drawing arms up overhead. I'll invite you to take the left wrist with the right hand, and we're going to come up and over toward the right. Now feet can be together, they can be hip width apart, whatever supports your body. And then just as we did seated, you can move a little bit with this one. So a little undulation of the spine, side body. You might take it into a more static hold, whatever supports you here. And then coming through center, we'll switch it out. Left hand, right wrist, up and over to the left. Static hold or a little movement. You can have a little knee bend here. Coming back through to center. This time, interlacing hands at the base of the spine, drawing the knuckles down, lifting through the chest, the heart. And on an exhale, forward fold. If it works to keep the hands connected, letting them come up over head, letting your head be heavy once again, your knees be soft, and opening up through the chest, the back of the heart. And then by way of the sacrum, releasing hands to the earth. And we'll find a few halfway lift rolling here. So inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, folding in. Inhale, lengthen. You might press against your shins. Exhale, as you roll in, you might press against the backs of the legs, feeling the range of motion that supports you here. Letting the core be supportive of the spine. One more like that. Inhale. Then exhale, this time releasing hands, planting them here, and we'll step back, high plank position. And for a moment here, letting the hips lower down, so a nice long line from shoulders to heels, and then just rocking forward and back over the toes. And then lowering the knees, bending through the elbows, lower the chest, lower the chin, and then the hips can descend down onto the earth. We'll find a few rolling cobras, placing hands underneath shoulders, rolling shoulders up and back to inhale, lifting through the heart, and exhale to lower. Moving with your breath, planting through the tops of the feet, finding your range of motion. Maybe even exploring one of these without the hands pressing. And then noticing what it's like to re-weight the hands. One more, your own form. And then pressing through tabletop. Curling toes under and meeting in downward facing dog. Downward dog, in many ways in our yoga practice, is considered our resting shape. But if it's not restful for you, honoring your body, releasing to child's pose, or any variation that supports you. From downward, from downward facing dog, taking your gaze forward and taking a nice slow walk to the top of the mat. Finding that halfway lift, maybe lengthening the legs this time. And exhale, forward fold and in. Inhale all the way to standing. And exhale, releasing the hands. Inhale, sweeping arms up. This time a variation, exhale to the right, lowering right hand. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale. Exhale, bending the elbows, lift the heart. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, planting hands, stepping back, high plank. Option to come to the earth as you did before, or to roll a little forward on the toes, bend the elbows, come halfway down, and then maybe rolling over the tops of the toes. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. So floor to cobra, low plank to upward facing dog, pressing back, or skipping all of that and meeting in downward dog. We'll do this one more time through, gazing forward, and perhaps if you like, bending through both knees, setting your gaze forward and hopping your feet to the top. Inhale, finding a halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way to standing. Exhale, releasing the arms. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale to the right. A little dance here. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, bending the elbows. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. And your way to downward facing dog. Whatever serves you, I'll offer one more option here, which is to bend the knees and shoot the feet back, landing in low plank. Honor your body. Inhale, lifting through cobra or upward dog. Exhale, pressing back. You might notice the increase in heart rate, a little bit faster flowing movement. It's purposeful, stretching the nervous system, building flexibility. Inhale, reaching the right leg behind, and exhale, we're going to step forward and through into a low lunge. From here, you could take a moment. I'm up on fingertips. I like that. You can also use blocks if you have them around. And just a few breaths in and out of your lunge. We're not here too long. It's just an opportunity to warm up through the hip flexor, the hamstring. So we're not pressing into any purposeful shape. We're just greeting yourself as you are. Getting to know what you bring to the mat today. Every day is truly different, just like that changing sky. And rather than orienting to yesterday's practice or tomorrow's practice, what's here right now? And then planting the hands, we're going to step that right leg back for a moment. Just pause in this three-legged shape. You might notice if you want to shorten your distance, walk the hands back a footprint or so and just really ground into that left heel. We're going to flex into that right foot like you could plant your footprint in the back of the room. And then exhale, lowering right leg, downward dog. Pausing for a moment, just noticing left and right sides of your body. And we'll do this little warm up on the left side. Inhale, left leg, gazing forward, stepping left foot forward and through. Sometimes you need a hand to help your foot get there. That's okay. And then once you've arrived, blocks or no blocks, just allowing yourself to come in and out of the lunge. Right side, hip flexor, left hamstring, and you might notice that this side has a different story to tell than the other side. So you honor what's here. And then slowly we ground the hands from low lunge, stepping left foot back. And maybe you walk the hands a handprint back or so, slightly shortening the stance, grounding into the right heel, flexing your left foot. So we're not opening the hip today. We're keeping the hips level, breathing into the back of the right leg, maybe pressing that left footprint back onto the wall. And stepping left foot down, downward facing dog. From downward dog, bending the knees, gazing forward, maybe hopping to the front, walking there, however you want to get there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bending the knees here. Maybe you toe heel feet nice and tight together. We'll find our way into Katasana. So allowing yourself to keep that knee bend, lifting through the arms, and exploring for a moment the depth of the seat in the hips, the lift of the heart, feeling yourself grounded into the earth, reaching into the realms of potential. And here you are, right in between. We're going to move with the breath. On an exhale, sweeping the arms back. Inhale to lift, getting a little chi flowing. I'll invite you to exhale through the mouth, and we'll speed it up just a little. Again, let something go. Stressful week? Let it out through the breath, through the movement. Still holding on. Sweep it away. One more. And inhale all the way to standing. Exhale, releasing the palms, either palm to palm in front of the heart, or maybe palm over your heart. Either way, sensing your own heartbeat. You are alive. Softening, releasing the hands. Inhale, sweeping arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. This time, exhale, planting the hands, stepping back high to low. Your version, cobra or upward dog. And exhale, pressing back, downward facing dog. I'll invite you to step your left foot a little closer to the right foot, a little more towards center. Inhale to free the right leg. Exhale to step forward and through, this time rounding into the left heel. From here, we'll sweep up into warrior two. Breathing this shape, you might want to come in and out, just allowing yourself to surf out through the hips, the arms, and then maybe you settle, you ground, you deepen, you meet the intensity, setting your eyes on your drishti, your focal point. There is no past, there is no future, right here in between. Inhale, reaching up and away, opening that right side body, and exhale, forearm to thigh, left arm reaches long overhead. Maybe a little deepening into the lunge, a little rotation of spine and heart, lifting towards those left fingertips. And then lifting up on this side, lengthening through the right leg, reaching away. And on an exhale, long reach, 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 and rotate. Rotate the right arm down. It can rest onto the shin, a block, or the mat. And then taking left arm up towards the ceiling. Again, a little rotation here. Maybe your gaze is towards your left thumb, or maybe your neck prefers to gaze ahead or down. You might micro bend into that right knee if you tend to hyperextend. Softening your gaze, softening through the right knee, and inhale back through warrior two. And exhale your way down to the earth. All the way down this time. Planting through the tops of the feet. And you can return to cobra as we did before, or if you like, taking your hands behind you, interlace your hands at the sacrum. And inhale, allowing the hands to begin to lift the shoulders, the chest off of the mat. You can slightly tuck the chin, lengthen through the back of the neck. The feet can stay grounded, or maybe you lift the legs off of the earth as well. Connecting to breath, drawing inner thighs towards each other and slightly rotating them up toward the ceiling, creating space around the sacrum. One more inhale here, and exhale, lowering through the legs, planting palm over palm in front of you and resting your forehead down for a moment. Lifting through the head, planting the hands under the shoulders, moving through tabletop and greeting downward facing dog. We'll find side two. Inhale, lift in your left leg, gazing forward, stepping forward and through, grounding the right heel, and we'll make our way up to warrior two. Once again, creating this shape with some softness, some fluidity. So you can come in and out of the knee bend, keeping that sense of openness through the joints of the body. And then as you're ready, maybe taking your gaze over your left fingertips. Notice any tendency to lean forward or lean back. See what happens as you stack your shoulders above your hips. Sometimes those tendencies can pull us into the future, pull us toward the past. Once again, finding your ability to be here now. Inhale, reaching away from the bent leg. And exhale, extended side angle, forearm to thigh, and then right arm can course up overhead. Using a little bit of that leverage of that left arm to left leg to rotate through the heart, find length of the spine. So we're not collapsed here. We're pressing down. Check if your left shoulder's by your ear and create space. Slowly begin to lift, lengthen through the left leg, reaching away once again. And on a long reach, we then rotate the arms, finding your variation of triangle. Little knee bend, protecting the left knee. Maybe that right arm reaching, hand, lower hand might be on the shin or a block of the earth. Finding the right placement of your gaze. Softening, bringing a softness in the left knee as well as we lift to warrior two. And exhale your way to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, bending the knees, gaze forward, walk, hop, step, your way to the front. Finding a halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Bending the knees for Katasana. Inhale, lifting through the upper body. Exhale, taking right arm underneath the left. From here, a little more weight into the left leg. Let our right foot begins to lift. And then taking right leg to the side, up and around, eagle pose. Finding your balance here, single or double wrap. And then drawing knees forward, elbows in line with the knees. The shoulders and hips continue to stay in alignment with each other. And then feel it from the inside out, right? Here's our dance of willful shape and surrender inside. Slowly, we release the arms. I'm going to invite you to step out wide. Bring the arms up overhead, and for a moment, lift up onto the balls of the feet. The heels lift. You might need to find a place for your gaze, for balance. And hey, if you fall out, the floor is not far. Exhale, lower the heels, the arms. Coming to center for a moment. Once again, maybe palm over palm, one palm over your palm, one over your navel. Sensing yourself in space. And then softening the hands, bending through the knees. Inhale. This time exhale, left arm under right. Single or double wrap. Now, if it's hard to touch the hands, you can hug yourself here. Lovely variation. Whichever variation you're taking, weighting into the right foot, freeing the left, you can take it to the side and then around, up and over, single or double wrap. We work towards aligning elbows and knees, shoulders and hips, and then we enter deeply inside of this shape that crosses midline again and again and again. What's so powerful about this shape as well is that when we lift the forearms, we're obstructing our view. So how do we see past the barriers to the wholeness, to the love that's ever present within you, in fact, all around you? And then release, step it wide. From here, lifting to the balls of the feet, lifting through the arms, reach in every direction, 5-pointed star. And exhale, back to center. A moment of integration. I invite you to draw your arms up overhead once again. Maybe your gaze. This time exhale to a forward fold. Inhale halfway and your way to downward dog. If you're getting tired of chaturangas, skip them. Listen to your body. From downward dog, taking left foot slightly towards right, freeing the right leg. Exhale, forward and through, low lunge, and grounding into the left heel. This time for warrior one. So you might take that left heel or right foot a little wider here, so you have a wider base of your feet. And then walking yourself up, hands to hips for a moment. So in warrior one, we work towards squaring the hips forward, but there's nothing forced. So we allow ourselves to sense and feel as we draw hips forward, where there's the sticking point, and then we find the edge, then maybe bringing hands to rib cage, encouraging rib cage and heart forward, and then inhale, arms to lift, maybe gaze. Grounding into the outer edge of your left foot, pressing into the right foot as well. Inhaling here. And exhale, sweeping hands down, interlacing the fingers at the sacrum. We've been here before in other variations, drawing the knuckles down to lift the heart. And this time, exhale, forward fold, right shoulder toward the inside of your right knee. Let your head be heavy. Humble warrior. Embracing the aspect here of humility as we bow the head to the wisdom of the heart. And slowly releasing the hands by way of the sacrum, separating the palms. Inhale back through warrior one. One more breath. And exhale, sweeping down. Hands plant. Right foot back to downward dog. I'm skipping a vinyasa. If you want one, take it. From downward dog. Inhale, freeing your left leg. Gazing forward, stepping forward and through. Grounding into the right heel. Maybe toe heel that left foot out a little bit. Maybe taking the right toes a little more forward. And then hands to hips as we walk up. Warrior one. Once again, you can open the hips and begin to work towards closing them toward the front of the mat. As we begin to square the hips, you'll notice the place where your body says that's enough. And we honor that. Taking hands to the rib cage, inviting rib cage and heart forward. Sinking a little bit more into that left thigh and drawing arms up and overhead. Maybe your gaze towards the thumbs, grounding into the outer edge of the right foot. Inhaling here. Exhale, sweeping arms down. Interlacing the hands. Drawing connected hands down the right leg. Inhale to open the heart. And exhale, humble warrior. Left shoulder to the inside of your left leg. Drawing arms up and away. Opening once again to the back side of the heart and across the shoulder girdle. Slowly softening, releasing hands by way of the sacrum to the earth, and then pressing into the feet to lift up one more time. One breath, warrior one. Then exhale, hands to the earth, stepping left foot back to meet the right. From downward facing dog, pressing the knees down, I'll invite you to shift your hips to the side and come into a seated shape. We'll make our way into seated pigeon or full pigeon. So sometimes this is called fire logs pose. You'll find out why in a moment. I'm going to take the right leg down first and take the left leg up and over. So your knee might be quite lifted, in which case you might want to place a pillow or a block under the knee. We're flexing both feet, protective of the knees, and maybe we're working towards stacking shin over shin. So some of you have a lot of sensation right now. I believe it. I've taught this enough times. Some of you say, I don't feel anything yet. Okay, that's how different our bodies are. So listening to your body, honoring what's going to take you to the edge of sensation that's a working edge, a place to breathe into, a place of some juicy new learning. And then maybe if you need more, walking your hands forward and reaching your heart forward over your legs. Up to you if you want to stay with that long spine or maybe you round over the legs, whatever feels most supportive of low back and hips. Whatever version you're taking here, maybe even a block under forearms, right? Lots of choices. I invite you to go inward with the gaze, with the breath, with awareness. Sometimes you breathe for a few moments in one version and your body lets something go, and then you realize you can drop in a little further. Listening for those subtle shifts. Yes, the landscape may be the same, but the nuances are what we are listening and observing for. Slowly, slowly walking yourself back up and out. We're going to keep the right leg in and send the left leg out to the side. From here, we're going to turn the upper body over the left leg. So there's a twist in the upper body. Left fingertips can come out to the side. Inhale to lift and exhale to begin to walk yourself forward. So you might take right hand to the outside of the left shin or left foot. Finding a long spine is always most protective of the low back. Your spine might say, I'd like to curl in, listening to what's right for your body. Coming back to breath, staying with that inward focus. Slowly lifting up from here and keeping that left leg to the side, taking the torso forward, and this time left arm toward the inside of the left leg. So you might roll the right shoulder back, grounding into both sits bones. You can keep that right hand on the right hip, or maybe you draw right arm up and overhead. So some of you might reach down, take your toe, right? All that fancy stuff. I'm not so interested in that, right? What I'm interested in is finding the edge of sensation, even the opening of the gills of the lungs, right? Just letting yourself find the subtle movements inside of the shape that even open up some joy. Slowly lifting up from our side bend, we'll plant the right hand and lift up onto right shin, left foot, and left arm can reach up overhead. A little rotation here of the heart, gate pose. And slowly soften back to earth. And we'll switch sides. Bending the left shin forward. So we're kind of squaring it to the front of the mat, or in some way square to your body, and look down, you'll see a nice little triangle. And then we'll take the right foot flexed up and over the left knee, flexing both feet. Now again, if you're one of those lucky ones to be stiff, you don't have to work too hard to find your edge, right? So finding the place in your body where you have enough sensation to work with. Stacking shins, if that's working in your body. If you are very flexible and don't have a lot of sensation yet, you might walk yourself forward. Wherever you are, connecting to breath. And slowly walking up. This time we send the right leg out to the side. Left foot comes to the inner right thigh. Flexing right foot, turning the body to square torso over right leg. So there's actually a twist in the mid-spine. Right fingertips are a little bit like an outrigger here, like on a boat, right? And then we're going to walk yourself forward toward that right leg. Left hand might come to the outside of the leg or foot, maybe working with a long spine or rounding, whatever best serves you in this shape. Slowing down the breath. And then slowly lifting. This time, we're taking right arm to the inside of the right leg and allowing the torso to twist a little toward the left. Left hand can stay rooted on the hip or up overhead. Feeling into the subtle movements of the shape that make it yours. And then slowly lifting up. This time we plant left hand, lifting to left shin, right foot, right arm reaches overhead. Maybe a subtle back bend right here. And exhale to lower. Last seated forward fold is to take both feet forward. You might rest your hips onto a folded blanket or a block for this one. If you've got some hip tightness, you can always keep a micro bend in the knees and inhale, sweeping arms up. Exhale, reaching forward, hands might rest on shins or feet. You might extend the heels a little more forward, just listening to what supports your body. Most importantly, in this shape is the invitation to go inward. This is a surrender opportunity into the receptive mode, less doing, more being. And then slowly walking yourself up, bending through both knees, and making your way all the way down onto your back. Once you arrive there, check in, maybe draw knees to chest for one last squeeze. If there are any final movements that you need, honoring your body, your practice. Otherwise, Soften and release one leg at a time down into your final relaxation. Opening your palms in a gesture of receiving. Softening through your jaw, your tongue, your eyes. Giving yourself a full experience of this quiet, receptive shape to integrate your practice with stillness. Once again, I'll offer up these words from Rumi. Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And through this practice, having sent your breath into those places of tightness, having opened your heart to some joy and some space, perhaps allowing yourself to sense and feel the love within you and that is around us all. I often like to come back to the basic principle that the power of love is greater than that of fear. And I'll invite you to slowly bring some deepened breath and subtle movements back into your body. Of course, you are always welcome to remain in Shavasana for longer. And in fact, I encourage you to do so if you have the time. Otherwise, if you're seeking to close out together, wiggling your fingers, your toes, beginning to bend the knees, maybe rotating hands around the wrists, feet around the ankles. And then as you draw knees into your chest, either rocking to one side, pausing there, eventually pressing to sitting, or maybe you rock on your spine to arrive there. In closing, I just want to thank you all for your commitment to your practice and your willingness to be here and to allow me to be a guide. Bringing palm to palm in front of the heart, and with one final gesture, bowing head to heart, namaste.